Greetings. Hello once again. Another update. We're into October now. I have begun working on Fuselage. Have not been working on Dungeons of Daggereth all that much. I did play with sound a little bit. Still trying to decide whether I want to go with real-time generated sounds or samples. Probably going to go with samples because real-time generated sounds are being a little tricky. I'll be honest, I'm not a real big sound programmer, and I do well just to playback samples, so that might be what I do, at least initially. I kind of wanted to avoid that for space reasons, but I mean, let's face it, sometimes the easiest path is the better one. You get better results that way sometimes. So, since I'm not in any kind of rush to get Dungeons of Daggereth finished, I think I'll just go with samples for now, and then maybe circle back around and see if I can't get the real-time generated sounds to work. But for now, I'm working on Fuselage, and some of the stuff I was doing for Dungeons of Daggereth for the input handler using the Amiga's system routines for getting keyboard input were being plugged into a greater framework that was designed ultimately for Fuselage itself. So some of that code carries over, and the work done in one is reflected in the other. Underlying it all, it's much different, but the overall API calls look very similar between the two. So it's the kind of work that solving it in one carries over and can be reused in the other. So it's not wasted time either way. Once the input handler is finished for Fuselage, then I will begin the hopefully straightforward process of porting the Raylib implementation of the sprite and tile layers to the Vulkan version. And I don't anticipate any real problems there, but it might require some parts of the original GDMF to be rewritten, because I had originally rewrote GDMF so that each of the different layers would have a different set of command lists, but the way it's looking right now is I'm going to have a single set of command lists. Not really sure if I want to do that though, because I do want to make the layer renderers multi-threaded, so that there would be a thread for each of the layers, and I will have to look at that more closely once I'm in the process of doing the whole multi-threaded thing. But anything I do in Fuselage, as I've said 1,000 times before, it's not set in stone. It isn't going to be a once and done. Any part can be rewritten at any time, so I'm not opposed to throwing away work and starting over, which I have done many times before. It's all a learning process. And I would rather take time to redo something better than create, in the long run, a bunch of technical debt where I have built too much on top of something that ultimately I decide is not going to be used. So if I get to a part and I decide right now it should probably be rewritten, then I will just take time to rewrite it. One of the benefits of working for yourself, doing this on your own accord, is that you don't answer to anybody. I don't have any time frame or boss or schedule or anything like that. This is not my main source of income. So if it takes me forever to do it, then well, that's just on me. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So even though October is going to be probably a very light workload month for me as far as doing any kind of coding, because I'm just rather spending my time playing games and enjoying being social and trying to get out there and do things other than sit in front of the computer, I have been doing a little bit of work. I would like to have something to show by the end of the month, but I don't know that that's going to be very likely. If anything, I might see if I can't get part 2 of the Hello Tiles demo done. Not that that's terribly important. That first video really did not do very well, and anything that I do with the tile layers right now is probably going to be at least a little bit obsolete eventually because it will be replaced with the Vulkan version. And though the API calls won't change all that much, there will be some changes. So maybe I might wait for part 2 till after the Vulkan conversion is complete. But if anything else, I will at least work on the graphics because I do have something in mind for the part 2. I kind of want to do a Castlevania parody clone thing. You saw in part 1 the menu for Sausages of the Night, and I do plan on continuing on in that direction, though I've got a few other things in mind. Now, mind you, I'm not making a full game out of it. That was stated from the very beginning. It is just going to be a technical demo, but even if it's just a technical demo and I do create some custom graphics for it, I would at least like to make it worth people looking at. Even as a technical demo, as a tutorial on how to use the tiles, I would still like it to be a fun toy that, while not a full game, somebody might enjoy checking out just once or twice. Anyway, that's where I'm at, so continue watching this space. You know what to do with the little doodad down at the bottom. And I will see you next time. In the meantime, sausage, beer, video games, you know the drill. Peace out.